Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trailer Punk Podcast. Joe Castro, again, the hardest working man in show business, special effects, blood, directing, writing, producing, everything. You're a pure genius. Thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you, Justin, for
I
having me on
really
the show.
appreciate it.
It's I'm super excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. Terror Tunes was my introduction, which I think is probably, is it your most popular movie, most well talked about?
I think Terror Tunes is my most recognizable
I
film
would say,
today.
because when
Yeah.
you make a post about it, I mean, people are just talking crazy about it.
Well,
You,
it came out in 2002, and
Mhm.
this was like before cell phones.
Yes.
So, and the movie was shot on video,
Hmm.
and it was shot for like we shot the whole movie for $2,300.
Yep.
And when you watch the film, I don't know if you watched it this way,
Oh,
but when it
yeah.
was released on Blu-ray and VHS, or not Blu-ray, but DVD and VHS when it
Yeah.
first came out, there was also an additional like 15 minutes added to the disc or to the VHS tape at the end. We kind of talked about how we made this film for
Yeah.
$2,300.
Yeah.
So we kind of like made this like blueprint
Mhm.
for people to make an independent film on a
Yeah.
micro budget.
Yeah.
And I kind of explained how to do it.
Yeah.
So, and anybody can do it, and
Yeah. I think I still see. I got it. I rented it from Blockbuster, which obviously doesn't exist anymore.
right.
But I still have. I got it. I rented it, watched it, loved it, and went back and was like, I'm keeping this. This is becoming mine now. Like, I wouldn't even give it back. I told the guy, I was like, I don't know what you got to do to order another one, but I'm keeping this. However much I have to pay right now, this is mine. So I told him I'm keeping it. I paid for it, obviously. So yeah, somewhere out in my basement, I have, booklets full of DVDs and stuff. So I had that, still have it. And I watched it so much,
That's
and
very
so much
kind.
so. Anytime I had a friend over, we would turn it on. I go, "You're gonna watch this. You're my friend now. You're gonna watch it." I even showed it to my wife. When we started dating, I was like, "Okay, you got to know my levels of weird," which was like Grindhouse and stuff. And I'm like, I'm turning on Terror Tunes and you're watching this with me. And I'm like, and if you don't like this or you don't like where this is, then you can go. You know what I mean? So she was just like perfect. Like she just she
Yeah.
finds it odd, but she
That,
wasn't
that,
like, ugh.
what a great way to introduce somebody to
You
the
have
real version of you. Like this
that.
is yeah.
Yeah, you
Here's
have.
this is a test. I
Yeah.
want to say I actually I don't know if you remember, but they would keep like the one like DVD or VHS cover
Mhm.
out in front of the actual thing that you rented and took
Yes.
home. So on the VHS box of Terror Tunes, it was just like Blockbuster Home Video. It was like a white label with
Yeah.
a blue logo, and you turned it over. It gave a description of the film, and it said in the back, and I have it
Yeah.
somewhere because I kept that
Yes.
plastic
I,
box.
I need to
It's
find a
yeah,
VHS version of it, but
it
yeah.
said something like if you like The Evil Dead 2, Nightmare on Elm Street, and I think it said the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Yep.
then you will like this movie too.
Oh,
And
it's
then
so
Blockbuster wrote that on. I was like, oh, I gotta keep this.
yes,
And it had a
absolutely.
very simple explanation of what the film is about on the back. And it
You
was just kind of a sweet little nod to micro budget filmmaking,
Oh, it's fun.
$2,300.
You went through Brain Damage Films. What was your experience with that one? With that one?
Well, at the time, Darren Ramage, who ran Brain Damage Films, it
Yep.
was his fourth acquisition into his library.
Hmm.
And he had never gotten a movie into Blockbuster Home Video.
Yeah.
And so our film, he really nurtured it and loved it. And he was a super fan of the movie itself.
Yeah.
So he knew how to market it and sell it. And he did a really good job marketing it and getting it out to the people that really should see it. Now, after that, I don't think Blockbuster picked up but like one or two more of his actual films. But so our film was the one that kind of got his company going. And Darren was new at the time, so he wasn't as much of a predatory bottom feeder distributor until he realized how much money he could make and he could hide from the filmmakers he was distributing the films from. And let's just say I probably put his kids through college on my movie and maybe even paid off his house with it,
Oh
and
no.
this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And But no, Darren and I do not talk anymore.
I'm
And
so
he will say,
sorry.
"Oh, he put out so many of my favorite movies." I'm like, "Yeah, but you should go and talk to the directors of those films. They'll tell you the same thing I
Oh
said."
my God,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. But now you have, did you like just like this is mine now? Like it's
Yeah, no,
become
I
your,
was able to get the rights back for the
okay,
distribution
because
after the term of the contract is up. There you go.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got the
Yeah.
box set. I encourage everybody who's listening, watching, get the quadrilogy. It comes with a whatever you call it, a 3D.
It's a lenticular, I believe,
Yes, that's it.
lenticular artwork.
Yeah,
That,
and
that
mine.
entire thing was put together.
Yeah.
That entire thing was put together by my husband, Steven Escobar,
Yes.
who actually taught himself how to use After Effects when we shot the first Terror Tunes, and he
Yeah.
put it all together.
Mhm.
Steven is now is an Emmy Award winning
Yes.
editor for television and film, and
Mhm.
but he put that all that promotion together for the
Yeah.
release of the quadrilogy, and he actually upresed it for the Blu-ray, and put all that on it so that way it looks amazing. He did a
It looks
great job because
incredible.
the movie was shot on basically like a 480 or 720 format. It's like a tiny little format. At the time in 2000,
Mhm.
that digital was tiny. It was
Yep.
literally like if we're looking at our screen, it's like that big on a screen. So he had to blow it up to
Yep.
fill this whole screen we're
Oh
looking
yeah.
at right
Yeah.
now, and he had to do it in a way that
Yeah.
didn't pixelate or
It
degenerate
translate
it.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he did a super good job, and I'm sure in the future there'll be even other forms of technology that will
Yeah.
be able to do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so. Was that your guys' first project together?
Well, the first project we did together was a movie titled Legend of the Chupacabra.
Okay,
It
that's right,
was
with
yeah,
trauma.
with
Okay.
trauma, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was also shot the same way. I think we shot that movie for $3,500.
Oh, that ain't
So
bad.
yeah, yeah, and it was a successful acquisition for Trauma as well.
Yeah.
And just to kind of put it out there, Trauma made, I think the statements added up to almost like a little over $120,000 like in the first year. And of
Yeah.
course, they paid us pennies on the dollar for
Good.
all that. But
Was that a better experience with trauma than with brain
no,
damage?
no, no. Trauma no, no. Darren did a great job paying us.
Oh, okay.
He paid us a lot of money, but
Good.
he ripped us off for a lot more.
Yeah, and
And
the tail end,
but
right?
yeah, but Trauma didn't pay very little the whole
Oh,
thing. Yeah,
that-
but he at least he was honest about the way he ripped us off. He
right.
showed us how he did it. So and I was it was that was my second film. The Terror Tunes was my third film, so I had a little
Hmm.
more knowledge going into it of
Yeah.
what I should expect from a contract.
Yeah.
And that's a common mistake that a lot of filmmakers make when they go to distribute their first film. They either believe that it's a rite of passage to be ripped off, and it's not, or that somehow getting their movie put out on a label that it has a big name is going to somehow make them famous, and it won't.
No.
You still have to build your own fan base. You still have to do a lot of the footwork, and that's just great. Are you in my distributor group?
I think I am. I'll have to double check on that one after the podcast, but
Yeah, so
I'll look.
I run a Facebook group titled Movie Distributors to Stay Away From and Why.
Okay.
And if you're an independent filmmaker and you're listening to this podcast or this interview, you should go and find it on Facebook and answer the 4 membership questions and join our group. There's a lot of really, really important information in the group that will help you from being taken advantage of and ripped
Yeah.
off by film distributors.
Yeah. I'll add the link in the description. I'm gonna add just load it up with links for
Okay, cool.
your
Sure, sure. Yeah.
physical stuff that because I know you guys have a digital version, which I was kind of looking at for your first films. I think it was
Okay.
through, is it look pardon me while I look it up. Is it
Vimeo.
yeah, Vimeo. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of I don't know if it's still is our movie still up on Vimeo?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was checking it out and because I was, just doing all my research, writing it all down. I'm like, I think there's a digital that I think I ended up getting a movie. I think it was Terratunes 3 or something, and I
Cartoons
still
3.
have it like somewhere in my phone. And then once I bought I was like, this is it. This is all I need right here. So, but yeah. How did you and Steven meet? Has
It's
anybody ever asked you guys and how did that work,
How did that come
I'm
about?
a romantic. I like to hear all about this stuff. So,
Well, Steven and I met in the edit bay while I was editing Legend of the Chupacabra. I already shot the movie,
mhm.
and he was working with Tejano music director, producing a music video.
Yeah,
And the director introduced us both in the edit bay, and
yeah,
we had similar interests, and we just started chatting. And I invited him to come to the premiere, the first cut I did of Legend of the Chupacabra. And
yeah,
after I watched it with him, we both decided that it needed some work, that
yeah.
some things needed to be done to it. And he agreed. And so that's how our relationship began. And then later it blossomed into,
That's
more than
great.
friendship. And here we are, 26 years
I was
later,
gonna
still
say
together.
26. That's
Yeah.
incredible, dude. Congratulations, you guys. That's so wonderful. And it seems like you guys really just have such a really great just relationship. You guys put it out there, and it's always celebrated. And I just and it just feels like this was like part of your guys' babies was Terror Tunes working it together. So
Not well, it couldn't have been done without him. Steve made that
no,
possible. I mean,
absolutely.
it was Steven, myself, and another
Mhm.
man named Isaac Garza, who
Yeah.
was our director of photography.
Mhm.
And basically, Isaac and I did. I was already. Most people don't know this, but I I learned how to shoot an entire movie in one day because I worked in the adult video industry for a while.
Oh, okay. All right. I heard some
And
about
most
that,
people,
but yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. And so I knew how to shoot a whole movie feature in one day. And I
Yeah.
was like, if I took 3 days to do this, it would be
Mhm.
great.
Yep.
And that's so I plotted out how to shoot this entire movie in 3 days.
Yep.
And it just seemed to be like, like the magic, lightning in the bottle, and it
Yeah.
worked perfectly. So Isaac and I shot the feature, and Steve was doing sound on set,
Yeah.
and we shot the first day in 12 hours. The second day was like 17 hours, and then the third day was a 25-hour day until the movie was
Wow.
done. Because we
Wow.
I told the entire cast, I said, if you come on board this film, because none of them had feature length credits yet as an actor. I said, if you come on board this film and we shoot it in 3 days, I ask you to like give yourself to the project for 3 days, and at the end of 3 days, you'll have your first feature film starring credit. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's do it, And that's how it went down.
That's great.
Because like literally after I'd come up with the idea to make this project with my co-creator, uh I think we shot it like within the 30 days.
Oh,
It
wow.
happened that fast. It just kind of barrel rolled and happened that
Yeah. Yeah.
fast. And everybody that came to the script read to audition,
Yeah.
there was just enough to fill all the roles. I said, y'all got the parts. That's
That's
how it went down.
great.
Yeah, yeah, that's how it went
That's
down.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. Let me see. Ceremony was your first movie. I really liked Ceremony. I mean, for it being like a first, it was really, really good.
I
And I
had a lot
really
of,
like
yeah.
it's heavy, like a heavy sort of religious, what I guess you can call it religious horror. What was your expectations kind of going into that? And it
Yeah,
was very 90s, so I love it.
yeah, that movie Ceremony was God, there's so much like drama behind that. I don't
Oh,
even know where to begin. I mean, good drama though, well, good and bad. Well, most people don't know this, but if you watch Ceremony, well, the the movie is basically the movie was originally written as a horror comedy,
yeah.
and it was called Demon Night with a K.
Really? With the
Okay,
K?
so my best friend from high school,
Mm.
me and another man named Robert Bacage wrote the first two drafts of it, and my best friend from high school at the time was working for Universal Studios in the costume department, and he decided it would be fun to fax a copy of the script as an interoffice memorandum to film and television development, and it was called Demon Night with a K.
Oh yeah.
And then after we made we after we got a letter back from them saying Thank you for your submission to the Film and Television Department at Universal Studios. Right now, we're working on Jurassic Park 3, and all of our attention is on this franchise. But maybe I would look forward to the possibilities of working with you in the future.
Yeah.
And then we finished we shot Ceremony, and then but we decided to rewrite it and make it a serious script. And then we shot Ceremony, and then about 18 months after we were done with it, Tales from the Crypt Demon
Oh,
Knight with a
good
K
night.
came out.
Yep.
And basically it's our exact script except they changed all the genders.
You, yeah.
That's exactly that.
That's
And
heartbreaking.
if anybody tells you otherwise, it's just not true. It's just
It's
not
all in
true.
fact now.
It's
It's on the internet right now.
I
Everybody
don't have to
watching this
make
list, it's all fact now.
I don't have to make any of it up. It's
Exactly.
all true,
Yep.
you know.
Man.
And so the only thing they did was like it's so funny because I know that we copyrighted the original draft, but it was written as a horror comedy. But I remember that when we rewrote it, we were altering the file so we'd never have a saved file of the original
Right.
comedic version. But
Oh.
if you go back and watch, there's so many similarities. There's like the crucifix with a hole in the guy's hands is a Jesus Christ image in the film. There's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of similarities. Oh, Billy Zane's head is shaved bald. In
Mhm.
our script, the fallen angel wears a bald gold cap because we try to convince the actress to shave her head bald because we wanted her to be a little more unisex or androgynous.
Mhm. Yeah.
And she wasn't going to do that. So we put that bald vacuum form cap on her head. There's just like there's so many similarities. That was the first time we've seen Billy Zane with a bald head.
Yeah.
So our lead hero was a female as well. Yeah, yeah. They
Mhm.
did, but they changed a whole bunch of different genders. Yeah, but that's all they really did.
Wow.
And I even down to the description of the demons. There's the winged demon at the end of Ceremony is very, very similar to the winged leathery skinned demons in the.
Yep.
It's just all exactly the same. They just took it and they knew that a corporation like Universal, they just do
It
whatever
just
they want.
it take
They
yeah. I mean
they'll be like we'll worry about it on the other end. This kid's not going to have any money to really sue us.
yeah.
So
They've done yeah.
yeah, they've done this before. They've done it many times. And so when the movie came out and I realized that it was our script, I went to this lawyer that was over here in Beverly Hills, and I told her about my situation. Her name is Carol McKelvey, and she went with me to the like we really made a date, and we went to the movies after she watched my film on VHS, and then she went to the theater, and we together along with her assistant wrote down every similarity. There were 36 similarities. All you needed was one.
Right.
So she then went to Universal and approached them and said, we have this situation here. And the Universal said, we will give him a script writing fee. And I said, oh, I can do with that. She
Mhm.
said, okay, but the script writing fee is going to be 80,000, is what she said. I said, that's good money. She said, but I'm going to take most of it. So she said. And then she said, and also, if we do this, Joe, you're going to be blackballed from the movie industry because you're going to be on a list
Yeah.
now of people that sue Universal Studios.
Mhm.
And I said, oh, she goes, so even if I take most of the money, you've already cut a deal with your producers, which would mean that you would have only receive 50% of the money that was left over after I take my fee. But even then, you've already made another contract with your director of photography that says that you'll split whatever you make with him another 50%. So you'll like only be getting like 15,000 or whatever when it's done. And then half of that will go to taxes. And then that's what you'll be left with. And you'll be blackballed from working on any NBC Universal Viacom project.
Yeah.
And I let it go. I let
Mhm.
it go. We didn't do
No, I
anything
get
about
it.
it. Yeah.
Makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like everything that follows down is just
Yeah.
like, well, then it just, what was the, you know what I mean? What was the point? You
What
know
was
what
the
I
point?
mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's at least you have, you're
Now I
used,
have now I have a friend, a close friend that says he wrote the screenplay. I
oh,
actually have a friend that said another friend,
yeah,
a recent friend who
yeah.
says I wrote the draft of that.
Hmm.
And all I have to say to him is that everything I'm saying about my story is true.
Yeah.
And you may have maybe you wrote the exact same story. I don't know. I don't know how to
Right. I don't
explain
know. Right. Yeah.
that.
You're like, I don't know
You
what it is.
maybe you did write the exact same story, but
Right.
two people had the same idea at the same
Yeah.
time. But still,
Yeah.
I copyrighted my script
Yeah.
before that film was released, and there was, all that was true. So
Yeah.
there you
Um,
go.
what man,
That's
you
my
I got
ceremony story. I hope I
yeah.
went off on a big tangent that
No,
way,
that's
but
okay, please. This is what it's all about. Just,
I
if it
I don't think I've ever told that story on a podcast before. It's not like I'm trying to hurt the guy. I'm just trying to tell the
no.
truth, you know?
What are you
I'm
going
not
to
trying to hurt
benefit from
anybody.
saying something? You know what I mean? Like
I want people to know that I've done a lot of hard work over the
yes.
years to get where I'm at. And I
Yes.
have been literally stepped on, kicked on, spit on, pushed around, lied about,
Yeah.
and tried to have my entire livelihood taken away from me.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for 42 years and I'm still standing.
No, you're killing it because even after everything that happened with was it Face Off and that whole debacle. I
Yeah.
mean, you guys were really trying to after all that happened, you guys made a documentary about it, and you're like, no, look how screwed up the industry can be. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. That whole face-off thing was so it was so dark and so depraved, the way they were treating me and people like me, that people did not want to see it. People did not want their people did not, you don't want to believe that your best friend or your favorite rock group or your favorite TV show is that depraved and that deplorable, And we talk about, there's a lot of people that love Trauma, and Trauma has done some fun things over the years, but their behavior is super, super questionable. And some people let that behavior go because of things. And it was the same with Face Off. The level of depravity and immoral and unethical and illegal behavior that was practiced on that show was
Yeah.
so dark. People did not want to believe that this young man who walked off the show had all this knowledge of how they were behaving. And the truth be told, I've been in the industry already for 30 years,
Yeah.
and even the people that were producing the show didn't have as much experience as I had in the industry. So it was very clear to me what I was watching, what I was seeing on set. I'm like, oh my gosh, they are grooming this person to win. Oh my gosh, they are treating the rest of the cast like we're props. We're not even actual contestants. They have no intention of making us look like we're good. Have you ever painted a picture or have you ever made a sculpture?
Yes.
You have made a sculpture, right? Have you ever looked at your sculpture from the best point of view and taken a picture of it and then turned it and realized that's not the best way to look at it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever taken a picture of yourself and looked at it and gone, oh, this is a horrible picture of
Oh,
me.
all
Oh,
the
but
time.
for this angle, it looks amazing.
Of course, absolutely.
That is what Face Off is about.
Yep.
Face Off had these contestants, and I'm sure there was something subtly amazing about every person's creation. But the producers of that show were masters at showing you the worst possible angle of some of the best work.
Right.
They would even go so far as to like change the lighting before they shot someone's creation. Like literally before they would shoot any of my work, they'd say, cut lighting, and they'd come in and they'd change up the lighting just to make my work look even worse. This is the kind of stuff they did on that show.
Yeah.
People don't realize that,
Yeah.
it's all, I mean, when you watch a horror film and
Hmm.
you look at the monster and it
Yeah.
looks amazing,
Yeah.
it's because of amazing lighting.
Of
It's because of
course.
amazing camera angles.
Yeah.
And if you can somehow manipulate, if you can manipulate someone's great work and show it from the worst possible point of view, then
Yeah.
people will hate it. And that's exactly what the producers did on
Yeah.
that show.
It's tragic because it feels like even and I was not to kind of get off track or subject. When I worked at a school, I do music production. Like I'll do music. We've already talked about it. You needed some music for Terratunes 3. I was busy with another project and anything.
Well,
That's
that's
how it
right.
kind of
That's
started.
right. I was really, yeah, you were
Yeah.
amazing at doing music. That's right. We
Yeah.
talked about it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was working at a school at the time when I was doing music, and I was became friends with a music teacher. And she's like, "Hey, come in, take 2 days off. I'll pay you for it. You come in and you teach kids music." And a lot of the kids thought music or how to get into music was American Idol.
Mhm.
That was it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It-
no, there's all these kinds of outlets where, and I feel like a lot of people are conditioned through TV or even through, social media where you have to go down these paths to become this.
right.
It's like, no, like, and even then, like with like if you try and go down these, there's going to be a lot of roadblocks, a lot of people who are going to try and stop you. I mean, you could be the best singer, but if you try and go on American Idol, they're going to find a way to flub
That's
you and
right.
people like you.
That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just
And the one this is the last thing I'll say about Faith
no, go
Snow.
ahead. Yeah.
I'll move on from here.
No, you're fine.
Um, uh, it was one of the worst experiences of my entire career that turned into one of the best experiences of my entire career because I had to take a hard look at my core group of friends. I had to take a hard look at myself,
Yeah.
and I had to take even a harder look at how I go about operating in this world as a professional special effects artist.
Yeah.
And it completely shaped me to the man I am today. And for that, I'm like
Good.
super grateful.
No,
But
you're
the, and then the part that really had tripped me up was that when you read a contract on a reality TV show, there's first of all, they only give you 10 minutes to read a 20-page contract before the competition begins.
oh yeah.
And in the fine print, it literally says, we have the right to defame you on national television. And it also says things like, this is actually not a reality competition show. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Yep.
And people
Yep.
don't realize that. People
Oh,
don't
it's
realize that.
heartbreaking. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, anyways, yeah. So that's whew,
There you go. There
yeah,
you
that's
go.
a whole nother outlet. Let's try and go. So were you working on Mutilator too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I did the special effects for
Yep.
Mutilator 2. I worked on that project for almost 6 months before we shot the film.
Did you
Uh,
go to the Joe Bob Jamboree?
I did go to the Joe Bab
Okay,
Jamboree.
how
Were
was
you
that?
there?
I've
Uh,
been meaning to ask people. I'm like, how did that go? How was your experience with it?
oh, well, I'm not ready to talk about
Okay, all right.
Mutilator 2 yet.
Yeah.
No, and please don't be, I'm
No,
not
of
offended
course.
at all. I'm not
Of
offended at all
course.
because I really want to talk about it.
Of course.
But the movie is not, I mean, officially not out yet.
No, I knew that.
And I just want to, but I will say this about the film. I met some of the most amazing people on that set that I'm still really close friends with today. I some of the most amazing things I've ever made, I made for that film, and I will get to post pictures of them soon enough. Like the most realistic flesh I've ever made, and some of the most realistic fake heads I've ever made. And the potential of the film is it could be amazing. I believe if they go back and recut the film and add the gore back in it,
Okay.
because the editor of the movie had never edited a feature film,
Oh no.
and
Okay.
he did not do a good job.
Oh
He does
no.
not know what he's doing.
And did
His
they
name,
show that during the Jamboree?
yes,
Oh
yes.
no.
And I told him, I straight up told him, I said, did you edit the film by yourself? And he said, yes. And I said, no, no, you do not know how to edit gore. You do not know how to edit blood.
Oh, that poor
You're
soul.
missing sound effects. And you missed it. You missed the
Yep.
shot. You missed the boat. You know
Yep.
how you like, do you remember like reading a Fangoria magazine and seeing like this amazing effect? And then when you
Yeah.
go see it in the film, it's like silhouetted with like just a little bit of light and that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
it's only in there for like 8 frames. You're like, what are
Right.
you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
That's what this guy did.
Oh
The
no.
editor did not know how to edit the film.
Oh, that's
And
right.
I'm hoping that by saying this out loud in public, that they will go back to the original footage
Yep.
and they will cut in
Yeah.
all the stuff that the fans of the Mutilator want to see.
Want to see.
They want to
Right.
see Mutilator 2. Your
Yeah.
Mutilator 2 should be double the blood, right?
Oh,
Double
of
the
course.
gore.
Of
There's
course.
a scene in the film, and I'm just going to say this out loud.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says, where a girl is hung by her neck
Yeah.
and slowly her neck begins to stretch and then her body snaps off and it's all done in one shot.
Oh, beautiful.
And the editor only used 8 frames of it snapping. And it was probably the best fake head I've ever made. He just did not know what he was doing.
That's so sad.
He did not know what he was doing.
Sad.
So hopefully they will go back and give the fans the extra bloody kill cut of the
Hopefully that's
film.
why it's taken a while for it to come out. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe
And I'm sure that people will see this and
sending
yeah,
positive vibes out there, please do
yeah.
the right thing.
So yeah, when I saw the film, I was like, oh, they missed it. Oh, you didn't hang on it long enough. Oh, you're cutting it wrong.
Yeah.
But they have their own way of doing it. It's their film. I have no control over that. But
Yep.
when I start posting the pictures of all the special effects, and you compare it to what you see in the film,
Yeah.
it will be obvious. Yeah, you'll
Great.
be, oh,
Awesome.
they didn't do
Well,
it. So
hopefully it goes in the right path. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you finally watch and go, that's what I want.
also
This
one,
is what I
yeah,
need.
I
Yeah.
mean, and also one of the producers of the film was like, I hate to say it, but she's 19 years old. She had never produced a film.
Oh.
I mean,
And they're taking a classic. They're taking a classic.
yeah, she'd never produced a film or assisted in a
Oh,
film. She even got, I think she even got her name on the movie poster, and she's like the assistant director or the.
oh
It's
God.
like like the like my credit is just like stuck in there somewhere between like catering and craft
Yeah.
service or something in the
Right.
back of the film, and then they give this person who helped produce the film. I mean,
Yeah.
she's responsible for the movie
Oh,
being what it is.
oh.
Someone like that.
I hope it does the
She had
right
no
way.
idea what she was doing,
Right.
and it's going to show. It's going to
Okay.
show.
All
So,
right.
but
I
God
got-
bless them. I hope that I
Yeah.
hope did you hear anything about it? What did you hear?
I haven't heard anything. I was more uh excited to see that you were working on it. We watched Mutilator when it was on the last drive-in,
Hmm.
and then they were talking about it.
Yeah.
Then I was like, oh my God, Joe Castro is part of it. And then they were going to show it at the Joe Bob Jamboree, like
Yeah.
the first screening, I believe.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I didn't hear anything unless people had to sign an NDA or something to
Yeah.
not talk about it or whatever. I can see that, but I was more like, your experience. What was your experience? I mean, did you stay for the whole Jamboree?
No, I didn't stay for the whole
Yeah.
thing.
So you
I
just
did.
stayed for like a
I
screening?
yeah, I stayed for the screening and that one. But I do know that the Mule 2 does have amazing potential
Okay,
if
good.
they go back to the original footage. I think
Yes.
they I just needs a new cut, is what it
Yeah.
is. And
And
there's
just
plenty that we shot plenty of gore and
right.
plenty of stuff, and they just cut it so tight that the
Oh,
kills are kind of like an eye. If you blink your eyes, you might miss it, I think.
oh no.
Yeah. That's just
Oh,
my own personal interpretation
oh,
of
of
it. Everybody
course.
can have their own.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of talented people involved in the film, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing a really gory cut of the movie.
Oh, I hope so too. I know you did Friday the 13th Vengeance, and actually Darcy the Mail Girl from Joe Bob's Last Drive-In was on there. What was your experience with that? Because she said, I think it was just her own personal. She just had a hard time mentally trying to get into the vibe of the movie. What was your experience with the Friday the 13th Vengeance on that one?
Well, I was basically brought in for 5 days to go up to Washington where the movie was shot
Okay.
by one of the executive producers of the film, or a perk, someone who was buying a perk, and he wanted his death kill scene to be extra special, and so I built this amazing fake head of Jason Brooks, who played the killer, the Jason character in the film, and it was a very kind, loving, warm family, a film family, and my experience was great.
Good. Good.
I have this love-hate relationship with people that do these fan films, and if you enjoy them, great. I don't do that.
No.
I grew up in a time when making cinema was supposed to be an exercise in challenging yourself to do something that was truly original. And that's why all the movies from the 70s and 80s are so original. And
Yeah,
they keep reproducing them because
I know.
people have lost the will and the effort to do something truly original.
Yeah.
And like when someone makes a sculpture of the Predator monster and they put it up online and they expect to get 1,000 likes because they're
Right.
basically copyright and trademark infringing upon somebody else's design.
Yep.
I've also heard, you know, you meet some of these people at conventions, and they're not very friendly, blah blah blah, whatever. And when I'm talking about maybe like the masters and people that came before us that showed us the way. And
Yeah.
and I think to myself, well, yeah, you'd be a little bitter and a little aggressive too if people are copying, stealing your ideas, putting their own name on it, and claiming that they invented it, or claiming that they're the creator of it, when they're just basically stealing or duplicating or mimicking something that was created by somebody else,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And but that's what I try to do with my all my work.
Of
And so
course.
why, if you look at my work, I
Oh, yeah.
try to make something new and fresh that you've never seen before and everything that I do.
It's
And
wild. like I've looked at all your stuff, and even I mean, coming back to Terratunes, I'm always coming back to Terratunes. Um, they're vivid. Like it's just so it's unsettling. If that's the best way I can describe it, is the characters, each movie, the bad guys, they're just unsettling to look at. And you know what I mean? Like it's almost like you're trying to find in certain horror movies, there's this element of you're freaked out, but there's the balance. But with certain movies like Terratunes and some of the other ones, there there's no moment of like it's just like the whole time it's just like I don't know, like it was just unsettling. You know what I mean? Like, and that's
Y-
what I like. And
There's
even
no breathing room at all. Yeah.
yeah,
Like an
and
actual cartoon, it just goes and goes and goes.
with
Which one is that?
was
Oh,
it
yeah.
Derek?
Yeah, Derek. Yeah, Derek.
It was just unsettling to look at and the whole time. And just the way he's so soft spoken, and it's just like why I'm so unsettled. Like this could be a fever dream right now the whole time. I love it. I love it.
Great. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that if and when we do Terratunes 5, we might go back to the original formula
that's
with the
okay.
original looking characters, maybe a slight spin on them, but I think I've done enough of the variations
Yeah.
now that it would be okay to go back to the
Yeah.
original. And yeah, I always try to pride myself on doing something that's truly original,
Yeah.
even when it comes to like cutting someone's throat. I tried never to do it like twice, the same
Right.
thing twice.
No, of course.
Even though people are like, I use that as an example because it doesn't matter how good a cut throat is now in a movie. Everybody knows how it's done, and so it's like,
Yeah.
how many different ways can you slit someone's throat in a film? Anyways,
Right.
and but yeah, I'm still trying to reinvent that too,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
if and when I
absolutely.
can. So
I
yeah,
think the one that made me cringe the most, and it's not much your work, but it was in Green Room. Have you seen Green Room?
I have not.
Okay. So it's a group, it's a punk band, and all this drama goes down in the back in the green room. There's one scene where this guy, they use a box cutter and they cut his stomach, like from, his stomach up, and it was just like, oh, like it just gives you the willies. You
So
know what I mean?
I need to watch The Green Room.
Oh, it's a
Okay.
good one. Yeah. Once you got more of your time off, you're still the hardest working man in show business. So, but anyways, Roseanne, you did the Three Stooges, right?
That was like my first big job in Los Angeles.
What was your experience in that one? I gotta know.
Well, um, let's see. Carsey Warner was looking for someone to build the costume, and I think that the original costume department was going to just go out. Their plan was to go out and buy like two rubber masks of Larry, Curly and Larry, or Curly and Moe. I
Yeah.
forget which one. Curly's the one with the bald guy, I think,
Yeah.
right? Those are for Larry and
I
Moe,
think he
and
was, yeah, John was Curly.
uh-huh.
Oh, and
Larry, yeah, Moe and
Larry.
Larry were
Yeah.
the heads,
Something like
yeah.
that. Because I know he was doing, oh,
So
that,
so
that whole,
so their the costume department for Roseanne,
yeah.
they did all the costumes for the show. They were just going to go out and like buy two rubber masks that looked like the Three Stooges that they needed, and put them on styrofoam wigs and put them
Yeah.
on. I think he was wearing a football shoulder pads, and they were going to glue them on that, put him in the costume. And what happened was they went out to buy the masks, and they found out very quickly that the Three Stooges is a trademark and copyrighted franchise, and no rubber masks had ever been made of them.
So you're the first.
So they said, we need to get these made. How do we do it? And they came to us literally 24 hours before they were going to shoot the episode and said, we need the masks tomorrow. Can you do it? And we're like, yes, let's do it. And I think we had like 6 hours to sculpt them and mold them and pour them up and paint them. And then we drove them over in the morning and handed them to them. That was my experience working on
Well,
that show.
the Roseanne Halloween episodes are of legend. Like
Yeah.
every season they had a Halloween episode, and anytime Halloween comes around, and people bring up Halloween specials from past shows or whatever, those always come up, and every time I'm like, That's Joe. I anytime I see, John Goodman wearing and I go, I know the guy who made, like, I'm just so, like, you should be so proud
I,
of
I I'm
having
really
that
proud.
honor.
Yeah, I'm very honored to have
Good.
been a small part of my growing up, my childhood, and
Yeah.
they shoot the Connors on
Yep.
the back lot
Back
where
what?
my husband works for Big Brother on the TV show Big Brother,
Yeah.
and so we've gone to a taping of the Connors, and it just feels like home. It just feels like
Great.
home to go there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. Do you have your own blood recipe?
I have several actually,
You have
depending
your
on.
own?
Yeah, I have several. I have my own blood
Great.
recipes that I use.
Yep.
And some of them sometimes it's stained, sometimes it doesn't stain,
Yeah.
but primarily I use a formula that's similar to the one that Herschel Gordon Lewis
Yeah.
used in the original Blood Feast.
Yeah.
And most people don't know this, but I am the kind of like the curator, the caretaker of the original formula. And some people claim to know what the formula is. I think one or two people claim to know
Yep.
what the formula was, but
Yep.
he told me the original formula.
Oh,
We actually videotaped it. We have it on camera.
that's
Herschel was
amazing.
in Terror Twins 3, and when we
Yep.
were shooting his stuff,
Yep.
we just did like a 90-minute interview with him on camera where he revealed all kinds of secrets to us.
That must have been
And
great to work with him.
oh
That
yeah, no,
must have
Herschel
been
was one of a kind,
like
and
a bucket list for you.
yeah, totally was like just one of these people that he doesn't even have to try and he inspires you.
Oh, he's
So
amazing.
he doesn't even have to try to teach you and he's constantly teaching. Yeah,
And he
yeah,
just kept like just making movies. Like he just put them out, put it like just make it, have fun. The audience will find you sometimes. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So, um,
absolutely.
you did is it the old ones?
The old ones with Chad
Yeah.
Farron. Yes, uh-huh.
What
Sure.
I mean, you did an amazing job. Do you have like a favorite HP Lovecraft story? Because I think you've done a few Lovecraft
Well,
special
I've done,
effects
yeah,
things.
Lovecraftian tales. Let's see,
Yeah.
yeah, the old ones. I did a movie with the people at Monster Makeup Productions
Yeah.
called Saint Drogo, which is kind of based on some of the mythos of the H.P. Lovecraft tales. And I don't know if that I have a favorite one. If you
No,
go online, you Google H.P. Lovecraft, the images are just never ending. It's this
so amazing.
surreal cornucopia world of creatures and myths and
Hmm.
sorcery and cosmic horror that is it's never ending. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Um, do you have like a favorite era of horror? Like, and
You
even like
know,
a subgenre, a genre of some sort?
I really like horror from the 70s now, 60s and 70s I've been watching. Only because it's just so like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
It's not all based on special effects. I mean, they would literally go and find a location that
Yep.
matched. It wasn't like a CGI location or a
Mhm.
set, and it just seemed so much more important. Everything
Like
seemed so much.
Fulci. Like
Yeah,
Fulci
yeah,
had a way,
yeah,
not only with gore, but he just I don't know if it's Italy or what, but he just knew how to find a place and you're going, that looks extremely daunting and haunting, and where the fuck is that fog coming
yeah,
from?
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the Blind Dead movies, the Tombs of the
Yes.
Blind Dead, or
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite is the Ghost Galleon. I mean,
Yep.
that movie is flawless. I don't think it could be any better.
Oh.
And then Night of the Seagulls. Have you seen Night of the
Mhm.
Seagulls?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
those I hadn't seen those movies until just a few months ago, actually, for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is great. And of course,
Yeah.
all of Peter forgetting his name now. Not Vincent Price. Uh,
Peter
uh,
Cushing.
Not Peter Cushing. The other vampire. Yeah, the Hammer vampire.
Yeah.
Uh, Christopher Lee.
Just
Christopher
really.
Lee.
There it is. There it is. There it
All
is.
his vampire films are just out of this world,
Oh,
amazing, and
incredible.
yeah, yeah, love all that
Incredible.
stuff. So
What has there ever been a horror movie where you go, uh, I'm finding this difficult to watch?
because of why.
I don't know if it's
I find it
right.
difficult to
It could
watch
be
because it's
subject.
boring the hell out of me.
It could be realism. I mean, what would be your
Oh yeah. So
line?
I can't watch any more movies that have involve like animals dying on camera. Even, this includes bugs or spiders or roaches or
Mhm.
even real animal parts like animal guts animal
Yeah,
brains. And like a lot of those movies from the 70s and 80s did have that stuff in
had
it,
to.
and
Yeah.
I just don't watch them anymore. I just don't. And like when it comes up, I'm like, stop! I don't want to see it. I'm sorry. And even to be honest with you, I can't watch The Gates of Hell anymore because of it,
Oh, really?
because of all
Oh,
the maggots and the
mm-hmm.
throwing up of the intestines.
Yep.
Like
Oh, yeah. Oh,
when you see the zombie go up to the person's head and it squishes the head and the brain comes out and it's like a pig brain.
mm-hmm.
They had to have just killed that pig maybe an hour or two before they shot that because brains do not stay that shape.
Oh,
Once you take them out, they
mm-hmm.
have to be if you freeze them and they thaw, it
Mm-hmm.
turns into mush.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to have been a fresh brain. That animal had to have died for that entertainment. And I'm not, I don't find it entertaining
No, I
anymore.
get
I
it.
can't watch it.
And even
So
with,
that kind of stuff really gets me. I just doesn't, I mean, like, I don't even use real animal bones. If like
no,
like a horse skull or a cow skull in a movie, I don't really use animal bones anymore. And I would rather make a fake bone for
yeah,
the camera. We can put blood on it. No one cares,
yeah,
how real a bone looks. Intestines are easy to make. Brains are easy to make. I don't use any real animal parts anymore in film. So yeah,
that,
I find it very difficult to watch
no,
movies that use real. I find that all the movies that had that stuff, even though some of those movies have become like major cult classics and stuff, at the time when they were released, they were complete box office failures.
no.
Like the movie Dune,
Oh, of course, yeah.
original movie Dune, which is an amazing film.
Oh, yeah.
There's a scene in that where I guess they're in like the lair of like the evil overlord, the one that's floating around,
Oh, yeah.
and there's all these like animal guts and stuff on the ground of what's left of his victims, and they're spraying it off with a water hose. I truly believe that that scene alone made that cursed that film, so it was a box office flop.
No, I can, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Just want to give a shout out to everyone and say, if you want to come find me on Instagram, I'm Joe_Castro_director. But you can reach me every day on Facebook, where all the old people live, at facebook.com/Joe.Castro. If you send me a friend request, send me a message, say hello. And lastly, if you'd like to see any of our movies, please go to www.terrortunes.tv, where you can see the entire Terror Tunes franchise and all my other films too.
Yep,
So,
yep.
okay, listen, brother, I appreciate you so
Thanks,
much. I
Joe.
gotta run.
I
All right,
appreciate
be
your
good.
time.
Okay, take
You have a
care.
great
Have a
day.
beautiful rest of your day. We'll
All right,
talk more soon. Thank
all right.
you. Bye
Bye.
bye.